My setup and tips on this TopRC hobby. P-51 Mustang, 750 millimeter wingspan. It is a beauty of a warbird. I really like this yellow and black and green color scheme. All right, so it comes in optional blue and yellow color schemes. I like the yellow, obviously. This was sent to me courtesy of Banggood. I want to thank them much for sending this for review. It has a wingspan of 750 millimeters, which is 30 inches. It has a length of 648 millimeters, which is 25.51 inches. The motor is listed as a DST 1200 kV. So I did some research and looked up what this motor is, and it is a 2408 1200 kV. It is rated for 2S to 3S. The recommended battery is a 2S 7.4 volt 1000 milliamp hour 15C LiPo, not included. That's what's recommended for the flight battery. It states the flight time is 5 minutes. Now with the batteries that I use in it, I would say you're going to get about 6 minutes of flight time, hard flying, cruising around, mixed mode flying, leaving 3.7 volts per cell. Right. It lists either a 12 amp or 20 amp ESC. So mine came with a 20 amp ESC, which is rated for 2S to 3S. So my plane is 3S ready right out of the box. So 2S or 3S. It has 4 9-gram servos. The ailerons have 2 independent servos. It is a full 4-channel aileron, elevator, throttle, and rudder. The specified CG is 65 to 72 millimeters back from where the leading edge of the wing meets the fuselage. Okay, so I think that this is the spot they're talking about. This is where I made my measurements for the CG, is where this seam is right here, where the wing meets the fuselage. I think this is what they're talking about, rather than over here, where the main wing curves around and then touches the side of the fuselage over here, because this flared area right here that meets the wing is also part of the fuselage. So I just wanted to let you know where I made my measurement for the CG. All right, so we're all on the same sheet. As far as the weight, the aircraft weight with the landing gear installed was, without the LiPo, was 356 grams. My 2S LiPo is 1000 milliamp hour 25C that weighs 45 grams. So on 2S, the 2S that I use, it puts my all-up weight at 401 grams. Now with the 3S LiPo, I'm using a Nanotech 3S 950 milliamp hour 25C LiPo. It weighs 66 grams, which puts my all-up weight at 422 grams. And this is also the Double Trouble 2 with the little witch on the broom there on the side. Very cool paint scheme. And this setup works for me on both 2S and 3S. I haven't had to change anything as far as the linkage setup, the prop, the dual rates or the Expo. I use everything exactly the same on 2S or 3S. So my aileron control horns are connected to the outermost hole in the 3-hole control horn. The aileron servo arms are 6-hole servo arms. It's in the 3rd innermost hole. The elevator control horn is in the center hole. It's a 3-hole control horn, and the elevator servo arm, which is also a 6-hole servo arm, is connected to the 2nd innermost hole on the servo arm. The rudder has a 3-hole control horn as well, and I'm connected to the center hole on the rudder. And on the servo arm, 6-hole servo arm, I'm connected to the 3rd innermost hole. That's the way I have my linkage all connected and set up for this P-51. So my radio setup and deflection is measured opposite the control horns, or as close to opposite the control horns as you can get. Sometimes, depending on the plane, where the control horns are located, you can't always get a ruler or something directly opposite the control horn. So as close to it as you can get. And if you have a gyro, you want to put the gyro in the least restrictive gyro mode. And the reason I say that is because some gyros do not come with a manual mode. They may come with like a 3D mode, but you still have gyro input. So make sure that you put it in the least restrictive gyro mode so that you're getting the greatest amount of movement on the control surfaces when you measure your deflection. All right, so for the dual rates, I have 100% on the aileron, the elevator, and the rudder. For Expo, I have 60% on the aileron, 50% on the elevator, 25% on the rudder. My deflection is 12 millimeters up and 12 millimeters down on the aileron, 14 millimeters up and 14 millimeters down on the elevator, 24 millimeters left and 24 millimeters right on the rudder. I always try to make sure that I've got everything set up so that my control surface movement is symmetrical. That gives you nice tight axial rolls and I think better stability when performing aerobatics. Also, I always try to get it set up so that I have my linkage connected so that I can get 100% dual rate if possible on all my control surfaces. That way I'm giving the largest amount of movement of my servo arm, which mitigates any gyro oscillations. I found that that kind of setup works the absolute best. Okay. All right, for the CG location, as we stated, it's 65 millimeters to 72 millimeters back from where the leading edge of the wing meets the fuselage and the location that I showed you where I made my measurement. So I started off at right in the middle at 68 millimeters back with a neutral balance. Okay, so that when I balanced it at that point, the plane stayed nice and level. Okay, the nose didn't tip down, the tail didn't tip down. Well, I had to keep moving it forward until I finally got to 60 millimeters back from the leading edge of the wing where it meets the fuselage in the location that I specified with a neutral balance. So I'm quite a bit forward. I'm quite a bit forward of what their total range is on that, but I found that that seems to be the CG that works best for this plane. You might want to set it up the way I have mine set up so that you'll have a successful maiden flight and then tweak it and tune it from that point forward. But I want you guys to have a better setup on your maiden flight than I had when I first started out. I was significantly tail heavy where I had the CG. Plus I actually had some tail ballast weight on it because according to the specified CG at 68 millimeters, I had to add 7 grams of tail ballast weight right behind the tail wheel to get a neutral balance at 68 millimeters. So I was significantly tail heavy the first couple of times I put it in the air until I removed that tail ballast weight and then also moved my CG all the way up to 60 millimeters. Now, at that location, I do not have any ballast weight on the plane at all. No nose or tail ballast weight at all. I have a neutral balance at 60 millimeters. It tells you, at least in my opinion, how tail heavy that plane was. Okay. All right. So a tip for you: it has a large 4-blade prop on the front. I don't know what the pitch is, but I would say it's probably around a 6-inch pitch. And that big 4-blade prop produces a lot of rotational torque. So when you hand launch it, it is going to pull to the left on a hand launch. If you watch the flight video that I had, and it's going to do that more so on a 3S than on a 2S because it's going to be spinning faster on a 3S. So just be prepared for that when you launch it with a moderate chuck with a slightly upward angle. It is going to turn left when you let go of it. Okay. The launch throttle that I use for 2S is 100% throttle. 70% on 3S. It's got adequate power on 2S. I don't have any complaints about the amount of power it has on 2S. It's probably more of a scale amount of power. On the 3S, it's absolutely outstanding amount of power. Okay. All right, so links. There will be links in the show notes and in a pinned comment right below the video in the comment section. I posted a comment, and it will be pinned so that it's at the top of the comment section. Okay, you'll find links for the setup PDF file, which you can download and keep for reference. You'll find links to 2S and 3S lipos that will fit in this plane. You'll find links to spare props. You'll find a link to the playlist for this plane that will have all of the videos that I've produced for it so far and in the future. You'll also find a playlist of the TopRC Hobby A1 Sky Raider, which is another absolutely fantastic flying Warbird, and I love the look of the A1 Sky Raider. There will be a link to the Sky Raider in the show notes and in the pinned comment as well. That's a wrap on this episode. Stay tuned, and I'll see you next time in the Tinker's Lab.